right, we're back for the third and final match of Versus Live today, where we will be pitting this mono blue deck against this third test in Sultai Midrange, what many regard as the best deck in the format. A very fluid deck that can switch between being aggressive or defensive on a dime, depending on the matchup, and a sideboard that really showcases exactly how to build this mid-range deck to do either of those things.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen the Golgari deck for a while now. It was the best performing deck, I would say, over the entirety of last season. It wasn't necessarily the best on any given weekend, and it splashed one of the more powerful cards from the new set. I think this was one of the more obvious decks to build early in the season. Did very well on week 1, took home the trophy, most popular deck on day 2, tied for most popular in the Team Open. But we're seeing the same thing that happened in the early weeks of last season when Golgari emerged, is that because it's so popular early on and so easy to build, that as the rest of the metagame evolves, it evolves with Golgari as its target.
Sure.
Rather than evolving more organically. So we get to a point where every single deck is being built and tuned with Golgari in mind, or with Sultai in mind in this case. And as that happens, the deck gets worse and worse. I think we're getting to that point in the metagame. Granted, this is a matchup that plays out not... I wouldn't say there's any cards in this deck that are specifically geared towards this matchup, but a lot of your cards just naturally match up well. I think this is a matchup where you want more copies of Essence Capture. Hane's list only has 1. You often see 2 or even 3 copies.
Yep.
Sometimes Wild Growth Walker can get out of hand, but the Entrancing Melodies in the sideboard are really good against those early creatures. If you're not able to put a lot of pressure on me, this deck doesn't have a ton of removal. It's usually playing a couple Hostage Takers and or Chupacabras, the 3 Finalities, which are pretty easy to counter and see coming at 6 mana, and then maybe 2 copies of Cast Down, or 1 in a trophy, or 2 in 1.
Yep.
And that's and then some Contempts, which are the easiest things to spell pierce and answer with Storm Tamer and things like that. So not a ton of removal, not a ton of ways to disrupt the early Obsession draws. But if those draws don't get going, or if you're able to just go Wild Growth Walker into Jadelight Ranger, you might be able to ignore the card advantage out of my deck and just race. So a lot of different ways this can play out.
Yeah, it's very difficult in some scenarios to figure out the point where I need to become aggressive because I can no longer contain the card advantage aspect. And hopefully you'll get to see one game where the Curious Obsession absolutely destroys me. You'll see another game where I can ignore the Obsession, and then we have a third game that kind of is some weird thing in between that I have to figure out which is the best line to take.
And we really both have to figure out in that case.
Right.
Do I hold back and try to hold up counter spells, or do I need to extend my Tempest Gins on turn 3 or tap out for other creatures, things like that? So
yeah. Game 1, I think you're going to beat me pretty easily. This build of Sultai Midrange is not nearly as hateful as the original Golgari builds from last season that had just a ton of interaction. We've definitely gone down a bit from the main deck, and the fact that many of the ones in my main deck cost 4 means that there's a good chance that I'm just too slow. And but after sideboard, yes, we do get 4 copies of Duress, which when combined with Cast Down or other cheap removal spells could be very good. Yeah. I know. I mean,
the Duresses in the sideboard are the real emphasis here.
The first iteration of the Golgari deck from last season I saw, someone had 4 Duress and 4 Cast Down in the sideboard with no Cast Down main deck, and I thought that certainly is a lot of those cards. And then the first time I played against Mono Blue and I brought in 4 Cast Down and 4 Duress, I thought, oh, that's great. This is exactly what I want. And so there is, and then people started navigating a couple Cast Downs in the main, but for the most part, people have kept between 2 and 4 Cast Downs and up to 4 Duress, like throughout the entire time Golgari and now Sultai Midrange has been in the format. So it'll be interesting to see the more that this deck moves toward Negate to fight Reclamation and away from Duress, the easier it's going to be for your deck to capitalize, because Duress is huge against your deck, whereas Negate I think is quite mediocre.
I completely agree. So I just want to get to the games.
Yeah, let's go in battle, man. All right,
You're on the play.
Yeah, I'm on the play. Let's take a look at my opener. I've got a Carney T, a couple of Merfolk Branchwalkers, not the strongest hand in the world, and no interaction, but we are going to keep it and hope for the best.
My hand is reasonable here. This can curve out, but it's nothing super special.
All right, start with Overgrown Tomb.
A decidedly average one. Let's play a Mystical Herald.
All right. I will play Branch B. I have another Branchwalker in hand, so I think I'm going to graveyard this. We want lands, but I don't want to shock next turn. And I already have another thing. And I kind of just want to dig for exactly Cast Down and or Vraska's Contempt. And or Chupacabra. 19.
Pass.
Taxed up.
I'm going to play a Trickster and tap down that Branchwalker.
Alright, second main, Branchwalker. Keep the Drowned Catacomb. We'll play this tapped. So go.
Okay. I'm expecting this Trickster to trade, and I would certainly much rather it trade for the 3-2 than the 2-1, so I'm not going to be attacking here.
Smart.
I am going to play a Siren Storm Tamer and just get in for my 1.
Right, 18.
Bring Todd 18 and pass.
Okay, the more he does not play Curious Obsession, the more I think I'm going to win this game. So before we progress... Okay, and because I want to use my mana efficiently, I'm actually this turn, I'm going to start off with a Hydroid Crassus, and I'm going to see if this gets countered before I decide on whether I want to attack, but trigger.
The trigger is going to be fine. You go to 19.
Right, so I'm at 19, I draw a card.
Crassus is good.
Okay, declare attacks. Yep. Alright, swing with both.
Block the... How do I want to do this? I'll just block the 3-2 and take 2. 18. Okay. I really want to opt here so I can hit my 4th land drop and hold up the Storm Tamer. There it is. So would have been, in hindsight, better off playing differently, but let's play our Djinn and attack for 1.
18 all.
Pass the turn. This is a big turn. I've tapped low for the Djinn. I have 1 piece of protection. Todd's at 5 mana, which is important. He's 1 short of finality, so I get to untap and represent counter spells before he can cast it, which is why I wanted to go for the Djinn on this turn. Yep. Cemetery.
And leave this on top. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play Incubation Druid.
Okay.
Say go. And this gets counter.
And now we try to tempo Todd out. Let's mash you for 6.
Okay, I go to
12. Todd at exactly 3-turn clock from these 2 creatures, so pass the turn.
Draw Wild Growth. Activate.
In response, Trickster, tap it.
Float a green.
Yep.
Ability resolves. Play Wild Growth.
That is fine.
Okay. And then, so this can check this. I think I just attack with everything. I'm not super close to lethal. This is 5, 6, unblocked, 7, 8, 9. Maximum of 10. This is not final, I'll let you know. So this is, what, 7 right now. If I swing with these, I think this is fine-ish. Okay.
Block the Jade Light, take 4.
Yep.
I'm at 14.
Go.
Not sure if I should use that Trickster. I kind of wanted to hold it to prevent a Wild Growth Walker trigger, but I'm under a lot of pressure on my life total as well. That's an interesting one. Let's put it on the unblockable creature and attack for 8.
Yep. Go
Bring
to 4.
you to 4 and draw a card. And play land and pass.
All right. How many cards in hand?
I have 2.
Draw for turn. Find target both Jade Blights.
Wizard's Retort.
Okay.
Do not think I can beat that.
I don't either. All right. Carnage Tyrant. Attack for 3.
I'm at 11.
Go.
And it looks like we might end up 1 point short here.
We'll see. I don't even know if next turn's lethal, but the Folly getting back Jade Light might buy me 1 extra turn, which I could end up needing.
That was a good draw.
2.
Attack you for just 2. Bring you to 2. Draw a card. I land and pass.
You have 2 cards?
Yep.
Okay.
You have me at 11, right?
Yep. All right, get back Jade Light.
Yep.
Guessed it.
Show you the retort I drew.
Yeah, I'm dead. That's really unfortunate. Just needed 1 turn for an important thing to resolve. Or like this turn, I drew another Carnage Tyrant, and if I had drawn just a another Explore creature here, then I think I would have survived. It's just, I mean, I was trying my best not to run. Like basically, so Find Finality, both halves effectively do the same thing. The turn that I cast Find, and I was trying to I was just trying to buy enough time so I could double spell in the same turn, whether it was Find plus this or whatever, and like be able to protect myself, and I could just never find the window. Even the turn where I activated this and played Wild Growth Walker. I actually could have played this instead of going for that instance, but I would have been left with less mana overall and less of an ability to activate Folly plus cast 2 things. So it was this weird tension that it was really, really hard to break. So we're gonna attack for this many, and then you go block here plus.
Yeah, I'll just block there and trade, and then.
So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah,
and then you go to 3, and then you attack back for 2, and I'm dead.
Yep.
So, okay. All right. Well, that was game 1.
Just to protect if Todd had a removal spell. So.
Get your questions in for Rob at SEG Tour in the Twitch chat if you have any. And we're going to sideboard here, take a short break. Don't go anywhere, but you're right back for game 2. All right, we're back for sideboarding here. And on my side of things, we're going to be trying to lower our curve significantly. Find Finality, I don't think is necessarily a bad card in this matchup, but you have to find all of the ways you can gain even a minor advantage. Even to the point where Ross and I were discussing bring in a Vraska's Contempt over 1 Vivian Reed because it's just 1 mana cheaper, and how important that can be sometimes. From my side of things, though, because of how important Wild Growth Walker can be, I think, and also the fact that I just have a bunch of Llanowar Elves, I need to make sure that I have something on the top end that can generate a raw amount of card advantage or just a raw board advantage without a way to use that extra mana in some spots. And I think Vivian is just too good because it can knock out the Curious Obsession or the Tempest Gen or Terramander, both of which are like the most important threats in the deck. Carnage Tyrant, even though it can't be countered, and sometimes I do bring in Carnage Tyrant against Mono Blue in other strategies. Here, that's not really the game plan we're trying to enact. Certainly cutting the Find Finalities. Finality obviously is okay. Find not necessarily as much, and we're just going to hope that we're just lowering our curve enough to interact with Ross on a fundamental level a little bit better.
On my side, I'm actually raising my curve a little bit. This is a matchup, once they bring in dresses and stuff, that the Protect the Queen strategy doesn't work out as well, so you need to bring in some things that can match them card for card just a little bit to buy you extra time. And Trancing Melody is a card that does that by either taking a Jadalite or a Wild Growth Walker, even a Llanowar Elves, to gain some tempo. And then on the draw, we're going to be cutting some Retorts, our most expensive counterspell. If we get to game 3 on the play, Hayne recommends cutting 2 Spell Pierces, because you have a little bit more time to hold up extra mana on the play and then start countering their creatures. But for now, we're going to rely on Entrancing Melody. And, I've taken a 4/6 Wild Growth Walker before, and it's pretty nice.
Yes.
Got any questions over there for us, Rob?
Yeah, we got one. Is there any chance you guys will try into the new Duo standard format before the Mythic Invitational?
That's something, yeah, we could definitely look into doing that. The whole point of that is that they want to showcase as many decks as possible, and they don't want to have sideboard cards that dictate the outcome of matches. So what you're going to see is a lot of people bringing like a deck that's pretty good against like half the field, and another deck that's either pretty good against the other half of the field or just generically great overall. Kind of like one is a precision deck that they bring to specifically beat one kind of archetype that they might have trouble with their other decks. So it'll be interesting to see, and it's definitely interesting to think about. The problem is that's not something that Ross and I have to play ever, and so it's difficult for us to take the time out to actually figure it out,
For us smart, we can figure it out.
I mean, we're going to look real dumb with the decks we bring. I can guarantee you that compared to what people actually bring.
See?
We'll see. All right.
I have full confidence in you, Todd.
Wow. You were the only one, including myself. I am on the play here. I'm going to mulligan. Let's get a couple more questions while we're...
My hand is perfectly fine, so I will keep.
My hand was very low curved, but only one land. Can't quite keep it.
You talked earlier about the decks you thought were positioned in the meta game. Could you go over Is It Drake's again, and why do you think it's like in the meta game?
For me, it's specifically good because for the same reason why I think that the mono blue deck is good. When Spell Pierce and Dive Down are important, any deck that can utilize them is going to be better than normal. And the version that I specifically like are the versions playing Terramander, and you can see a lot of the crossover kind of bleeding through into the mono blue deck. When you go for Terramander, you have another threat that can duel a Chart of Course early on, or ultimately just be a big threat as the game progresses. So the Is That Drake's deck kind of plays the field in that it can play aggressive early with things like Dive Down, Spell Pierce, but it has the capability to play a later game thanks to Crackling Drake drawing the card, thanks to Lava Cool's Beacon Bolt, Shock, these removal spells against the creature decks. I would technically count it more of a mid-range deck than anything, whereas your deck is more of an aggressive deck because it has the ability to side into this alternate strategy into a control deck featuring Niv Mizzet, as well as like Murmuring Mystic, Entrancing Melody, things like that.
Yeah, I think they're strategically the same. They're just sized differently. I wonder if we need to change the discourse on that and realize that things can be attacking from the same angle, but just a little bit shifted up on sort of where their curve is, depending upon where what decks they're. It does change their matchups. About being lower to the ground is going to make you better against slower decks. Bigger is going to make you better against aggressive decks, and I think that's the trade-off there. Is a deck's a little bit better against mono red and Azorius aggro, and the blue deck's a little bit better against the ramp decks, Circuitous Route and Gates and Nexus of Fate and things like that. So. I would say they're strategically similar. They're just sized a little bit differently.
Sure. One thing to note, almost all the Dre decks right now are still playing 4 copies of Lava Coil as kind of like this holdover from the previous format. I don't know if that's reasonable anymore. Like, it probably should just be Lightning Strike because of Terramander and just go into the dome so it's not dead against the control decks. Seems like it might be better, but...
Yeah, there's not a lot of Rekindling Phoenixes around or other cards that you really want to Lava Coil, right?
I mean, it's really the mirror. Like, if you can Lava Coil Enigma Drake or Crackling Drake, the turn it enters the battlefield. It's pretty important. We're going to keep this. I mulliganed to 6 again, even though my original 6 was quite bad. We're going to bottom a land because we want to just draw more interaction. All right, we're going to go to 18 and play an Elf.
That's what I didn't want to see. But he's on 6, so maybe it won't be that bad. I will start with a Terramander.
Sure. I'm going to offer a trade here since we are limited on interaction. And
I'm going to take this. 19.
Usually when your opponent attacks with a creature, they are representing... or attacks with a land or elf, they are representing that they have enough mana. I'm going to go to 16 and Duress and hope you don't have 2 Curious Obsessions and then just kind of take a peek.
Nope, only the one.
All right. So we got Storm Tamer. Do you mind playing the face up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take the Obsession. Your turn.
Okay, I will attack for 1.
Yep.
And play
15.
Storm Tamer. Pass the turn.
Yeah, cool to attack again.
18.
Let's play a Breeding Pool tapped and say go.
Near end step, I will opt.
That resolves.
Todd, question for you.
Sure.
Why has the Sultai or the Golgari decks before moved to just playing 4 wild growths instead of playing the 2 Seeker Squire like they used to?
People realized that the incidental life gain from Wild Growth Walker was good enough with just the 8 creatures, and with Chain Whirler being less and less of a factor, Branch Walker just applies more pressure to the control deck, so it just gets the nod. Yeah, we'll go to 13.
Pass the turn.
All right. In a turn, gonna kill this. Attack.
17.
I'm gonna play another elf.
I think Todd is gearing up towards a big crisis. But that elf, you have 1 card in hand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, elf is fine.
Go.
The awkward part of this right now is that my retort costs 3 mana. I don't actually think I have enough pressure to be able to leave it up.
12.
So I'm going to play a Tempest Djinn.
Okay.
Pass the turn. Probably get Crisis Tier. That's pretty good.
Hope you don't have a dive down.
But
Come on. How many do you have in your deck? 2?
Yeah.
Go.
How many do you want me to have? We got 2 spells in the
Just
yard
never
now?
doesn't have it.
Man. I just wanted to win a match today. You know?
Okay, let's send the Djinn at Vivian and Terramander at you.
11.
Pass the turn.
Still just have to fight through a stupid retort. Play this. It doesn't matter. Just let it happen.
It's fine. I mean, I'm going to 15 now.
Yep, your turn.
Because the one benefit is if I counter that and draw a land, you're dead. But if I had a land here, I would have done it. But
Unless
that's
I
a good
draw
draw.
Crisis.
Attack you for 6.
That's
for
5.
5. Chart.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
Okay. That was unfortunate.
Not a great draw from you there in that second game.
I mean, I had a lot of the necessary tools. I think we still have time to play another game, so we're gonna. Ross has all the marbles. Whatever.
We're a quarter of. We got time for one more.
Thing is, you already had all the marbles.
Got to get that.
I've had the
broom.
marbles for quite a while, Todd.
Look, it's because you just keep letting me play Wilderness Reclamation, and you get to play all the good metagame decks. Okay? I choose to give you the marbles. I could just beat you every week with the best deck if I wanted to, but I choose not to.
Today you've played 3 of the best decks. You haven't won a match.
I think all these decks are bad. I legitimately think every deck that I played today is not good. I think the White Winnie version is better than the Azorius deck. I think that this deck is hot, stinky garbage. I don't know why it keeps winning. And then I think the Esper deck is literally unplayable.
Strong words.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They're so bad.
What decks do you think are good?
I like Izzet quite a bit. The mono blue deck has definitely grown on me. I really like Haynes' build quite a lot. I don't think the deck I played on Tuesday is very good. The Simic Wilderness Reclamation. I think the Bant versions and the Teamer versions are both a little bit better.
Well, I'm mulliganing this game with my one land, no 1 mana spells.
What? Well, I have a hand that literally has 4 land and only 4 mana things or better, or bigger.
That sounds perfect.
I'm gonna keep it. I don't know, man. The gauntlet, so to speak, right now, we've literally had, I call it a week and a half of standard grinding because all the decks from the top 8 of the Team Open could have literally been carried. So to me, the weight of those archetypes is not very heavy. I would put a lot of emphasis on a Magic Pro Tour qualifier,
MCQ?
Mythic Championship qualifier over a team standard result.
Yeah, this is a 6 that can do something, so we'll keep, and we need more lands, so I'll bottom that.
All right, go. If you notice the deck that Jacob Hagan used to win the team open, I mean, he had a pretty good record, I'll say that, but his list was very close to the one that top 4'd the week before with Max Magnuson, if not identical. Like I didn't actually compare the two.
Max had 4 deputies and 4 hunted witness and 1 healer's hawk, and he had Tithe Taker entirely over a Vanguard. Max's list was quite different.
Well, Max's list is way better than. Just gonna go out and say that.
Well, we're digging for lands, so we'll continue to scry non-lands to the bottom.
Sure.
And that's a land. Siren Stormtamer. Okay, you can go. Go.
So Todd, given that you think that and you're commentating this weekend, how do you think the results are going to look? Do you think they're going to reflect what you think and like things like Is It are going to turn out better, or do you think the sheer number of people just playing Sultai Midrange will kind of overpower that?
I think that sure. Yeah,
Attack for 3, draw 2.
Yeah.
Got another kill spell. I didn't have another way to protect this, and I didn't have another creature, so having an Obsession stick in my hand seemed really bad. I just wanted to cycle it, and obviously if Todd doesn't have another kill spell, it's insane.
All right, to answer the question, do I think that the results from the Team Open will influence the archetypes for SCG Dallas? Absolutely, I do. And I'm not saying that the decks that the team event had were bad. In fact, I think in general, you have to have a good deck in every seat, especially if you want to win the tournament. And you have to have a good build of all 3 if you want to win the tournament. But I want to be clear. Brendan DeCandio once came with a standard deck that I would classify as literally the worst deck I had ever seen make the finals of a team open.
And I punted game 3 of that finals.
I know you did.
Could have won the trophy.
I was doing commentary on that one. That was also in Dallas, I believe.
No, it was in Baltimore.
Oh, you're probably right. So let me be very clear. Your deck does not have to be the best deck for your team to carry you to a victory. Or I guess to the finals.
In Dallas, I went 7-9 and we made the finals. But I was playing a good deck, kind of.
Okay.
Tannen still doesn't have that trophy.
I'm at 17, you're at 18.
Just sick burns coming in over here from Director Rob. Love it. All right, so Wild Growth Walker doesn't matter, so me casting that is just going to be worse, so I'm just going to say go.
Look, if Tannen's going to steal a bunch of water from every week,
attack for
I gotta get on.
Before attacks, I'm going to try to contempt it in case he has a filters. Yeah, so he's going to pierce and probably attack, play cast down, which is chart
16.
of course.
That's exactly what I'm doing. So we got 16 to 18.
Yep.
I'll chart.
Yep.
Draw 2. Play an island. Play a Terramander. Pass the turn.
Can I please just draw a land ever? Four lands in the opener. Okay, just want to be clear on that one.
16 all.
Duress you.
Do you want one of my retorts or my melody?
I don't actually care about melody that much right this sec, so I'll take Wizard's Retort, and I'll go ahead and kill the Terramander.
Go. I was going to make it so big.
I know. That's why I killed it.
Attack.
I'll go 215.
Chart of course.
Come on!
I'll go. You realize you're winning the race, right? I'm at 14.
Oh, yeah. Shock, Vivian.
Gotta kill that one.
Yeah, I'm at 13 to 14. You're good. Oh, you're winning the race now because your life total's higher.
Attack you to 12.
Yeah.
Play another Herald. Go.
Sure. Cards in hand?
2. You know the melody.
Okay. Attack.
I am at 12.
12. Vivian.
That one resolves.
Woo! Tick up. So we go to 6. Top 4. I will take Wild Growth Walker. Oh, sorry. Would you like to cut?
You're good.
Go.
That's a pretty good draw. Oh, no, it isn't. That's a tilt.
Oh, because I just get to minus on Vivian Reed and it completely destroys your entire plan?
I guess now I attack the Vivian. And play this Terramander and pass the turn.
Okie dokie. Artichoke.
That's not good.
Well, I just didn't want to. I mean, this is probably still bad. Yeah. How much does it cost to pump that?
1 mana.
Yep. And you have Melody in hand, which is not good.
Yeah, good against Crisis. In particular.
So I could shock Crisis for X equals 4, hold up a mana, and then try to draw a duress.
Oh, and that, okay.
All right. Well, first of all, this doesn't matter. So no, it does matter.
Yeah. That one's bad at attacking. So 4 in hand, and I know 2 of them, Walker and Crisis.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I took this over a Branch Walker when I have one already. And my goal was to hit another one off of this and then play both in a thing and try to basically overwhelm your Melody. But the Pteramander checking the Vivian is pretty unfortunate. All right, I'm going to shock.
You go to 10. Yeah, you want Green Black, right?
Yeah, go to 10, and then I'm going to go to 12.
Back up to 12, draw 2.
Go.
Well, we're definitely doing this. And
Just untap Melody, kill Vivian, attack me for 2. Come on.
yeah, I guess that's what I have to do. Melody, the Crisis, attack Vivian for 5 and you for 2. Play an island and pass the turn.
Yep.
You're at 10.
Yep. Let's go Chupacabra.
Resolves.
Mm,
You don't have any finds in your deck, so I think skilling your Crisis is even good. I guess you have Memorial on the battlefield. Yeah, that's a thing. I was gonna say Memorial is it.
I also can attack this turn, which might matter. 10 to 12?
Yeah.
All right.
Or
well,
10 all, because I got
10
2
all?
in last turn.
10-10? Okay. So because Ross can't retort right now, I'm just going to try to contend this.
That is really good.
All right, I'm at 12. Your turn.
Cards in hand.
2.
I know one of them is a Wild Growth Walker.
That is true.
It's a good draw. Take you to 10, Charter Course.
Yep.
Play an Opt.
Yep.
I think I have to top this and hope for the best. Jin.
It's
Go.
pretty good.
It's real big. 7 power, so I'm 1 short of lethal, actually. I can't block because we have Memorial, so I'll go to 6.
So you're 1 short.
Yep. Land kills you. Or Obsession.
So I can Memorial. Yeah, I'm just going to Memorial back Crassus and cast it for 2. So I go
So
to
you gain 1.
11.
So now, yeah.
Draw a card.
Yep.
And say go.
That is not a good draw at this point.
Block.
One Melody left in my deck. You have 4 or 5 now, something like that.
I have 4 cards. 4. Are you thinking about charting before attacking? Is that the thing? What's the hold up? Well,
Okay, you go to 9. Pass the turn.
and what are you at?
I'm at 6.
Okay. All right. Wild growth.
Yep.
Wild growth.
Yep.
Jade light.
Needed that to be Branch Walker, not Jade Light. Tap one of them. So now this will remove its abilities, but yeah, the J-Light's going to resolve. Gain 6, go to 15.
15 to 6.
Yep.
And attack.
Block 1.
You're at 4.
4. I've had this Trickster for so long, and I wanted to use it to help my life total, but knowing you had Walker in hand the entire time, I wanted to tap it, but I didn't. You told me at one point you're the second, but I didn't want to play like that. Mm-hmm. I think I would hold it to try to get 1, and now I guess you're at 15. It's too much because this is only 14 even in 2 attacks, even without the life gain from that. And you're going to gain another 3.
But you could draw Chart a Course into land plus.
I've already cast all 3 charts this game.
Oh,
I think, yeah. I needed another Terramander here that could block a thing and attack the next turn. Mm-hmm. But I just used Storm Tamer and Spell Pierce, so finally hit some of my weaker cards late in the game. That'll happen. Couldn't quite close it out. If you just have the 1 Wild Growth Walker, I win that game. Right? Yeah, because you're at exactly 9. So I just couldn't beat the second one.
Okay. Well, I won the last game, and as we all know, that's the one that matters because you get to leave on a high note.
That was a good one. That was a good last game, though.
That was a sweet last game.
That shows a lot of what goes on in that matchup. The mono blue deck able to play into the long game pretty well. Came very close to winning that. Actually, I guess even if you only have the 1 Wild Growth, you still have the blocker. That's the other problem. No,
I just don't gain 6 life.
Yeah, you still
dead in the air.
Yeah, I was 6 short. Yeah, so I just couldn't beat the second blocker. You drew a ton of cards, and you could have a removal spell at any point too. My Spell Pierce is bad.
Yeah,
not sure if there's any point where I could get a little bit more traction in that game, but just overall, good game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was three good matches today. Yeah. 3 very close matches with a lot of close games, and I think that's kind of the nature of the mono blue deck. You're literally fighting for paper thin margins, but when your deck does what it's supposed to do, games a lot of times just feel easy. And I wasn't keeping track. I think first match we played 5 games, second, third match we each played 3 games. So
3-2, 2-1, 2-1. So every match was super close, and
so 11 games.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times you went turn 1 creature into turn 2 Curious Obsession, but I don't think it was that many. I think it was only maybe 4 of the 11. Maybe fewer.
Yeah. There were a lot of games where I had Obsession and a 1-mana creature, but I didn't have a way to protect it. But I had Storm Tamer, so a lot of time I was trying to set up to do that on turn 3.
Right.
And then you would several times when I had it, you just duressed it away or duressed my protection spell, so I waited on it. One time I went for it, protected it, and then you immediately had the Chupacabra. That was my turn 3 when I went for it finally.
I think going for the second Curious Obsession there really rewards the opponent for having a second removal spell, because it was literally only the second removal spell that I could have thrown at you, not counting duresses, not whatever. So
I think a lot of people wouldn't have thrown that Obsession down, and I mean the game changes a lot. Maybe that Obsession ends up doing a lot of damage because you didn't really have removal after that. But
I had 2 Vivians, but I missed my land drop.
Yeah, but if you look at the way my hand was at that point, I Spell Pierce your Contempt. I have a Herald with an Obsession on it and 1 mana up, and my hand was retort, second Obsession.
Sure.
So you're going to go try to kill it next turn if you can, if you have it, and then my hand is going to be virtually unplayable. I'm going to have to draw a 1-mana Wizard to hold up Retort if I can. I'm not going to have a good protection for that second Obsession. So just cycling that and hoping for the best. If you don't have the answer, then I win the game on the spot. And if you do, I at least dig towards more land drops, more heavy hitter threats to rebuild. I think cycling that Obsession makes a lot of sense.
I mean, there is some merit to doing that. I will say that. But in that specific scenario with 2 retorts, my next turn is 100% going to be trying to kill your thing if I have it, right? And if not, it's just going to play some medium-sized monster for 4 or less mana. And from your side of things, you're going to get to untap. Even if you don't have a creature, your hand is retort, another land drop you can definitely hit. And what was the other card? Spell Pierce?
My hand was just retort, second Obsession. Once I resolve the first one.
Sure. But you have to consider you're getting the card there and also a draw set for your next turn. And I mean, even if you don't have a 1-mana Wizard, you're probably just going to hold up Retort and say go.
Without any pressure, that's not a game I want to play in this matchup. We saw what happens when the game went long enough. You're able to just rebuy your stuff with Memorial and overwhelm me, have Crisis, and eventually overpower me. So you do need to be applying pressure. Obsession does get awkward once especially in the post-port games when they have a lot of disruption. So I think that's a card that is it's obviously I think the best card in the deck still, but just because it's the best card in the deck doesn't mean you need to go out of your way every single time to protect it. I mean, that's minimizing its impact, actually. There are some times when you need to play it aggressively and hope for the best.
No, and your draw actually ended up being where cycling it was good because it dug you into more threats and then charter courses
to be able
and you were able and multiple instances in that game, like if I just brick once or like if I didn't hit my 5th land for the Vivian Reed the turn where I did, I was never going to initiate a chain where you even had to think about burning Wizard's Retorts, you know? And that was a spot where like the first one got countered and the second one, it was okay. It wasn't even that good. Like I had to choose between ticking up or ticking down on a Terramander and having it die. And that, I don't know. It was very close. But
if you brick for one more turn, I get the Terramander down a turn earlier. Now you have to minus on the Terramander, and then I get to kill it immediately. You never get to plus it.
Yeah.
I send very little damage its way, so I do a little bit more damage to you as well. I now, without knowing about the Wild Growth Walker, I have more flexibility with my Merfolk Trickster. I might be able to use that to just clear your blocker out and kill you with the Tempest Djinn before you find the Jade Light. There's a lot of different things that can go my way if you miss for one more turn, but a lot of things went my way too. I drew a bunch of charter courses that kept me in the game. Found that Djinn at the right time too.
Sure. All right, that's gonna do it for us today. We're at capacity. Let's take 2 questions though to close this out.
All right. Looking at Modern, what did you guys think of the Mono Red Phoenix list from the Team Open?
We both think it's really good. We're probably going to bring it to you sometime soon.
Yeah,
put it through its paces here.
My plan was to write my article about it this week, but a bit of travel burnout on Tuesday had me just like staring at my computer screen for like an hour. Oh, that's never fun. Sometimes you need like a day off.
Yep.
So,
but I was excited about Mono Red Phoenix when I saw Ben Weinberg and Marsha Arthur's list from Columbus several weeks ago, and theirs list is in the same vein as what Jeffrey Carr did, just didn't have the new cards yet. Ravnica Allegiance wasn't out.
I'll tell you this
Rituals
much.
and Tormenting Voices.
I am not a huge fan of Skewer the Critics. I played a league with it on Magic Online, and the Skewer the Critics don't really work super well with the prowess effects. Obviously, if you have Gutshot in your deck, it's significantly better. In Light Up the Stage. Light Up the Stage is powerful enough where it having Spectacle, that's not a huge deal. But specifically, the sorcery speed and also the fact that a lot of times, like, you're playing it post-combat, I would rather even just play Shock. Just something that can trigger the prowesses, kills most things. Like, obviously, 2 damage is less than 3, but when you factor in the ability to play it pre-combat more easily, to trigger something like Arclight Phoenix, or just being able to trigger your prowess effects. I can't imagine that it's what I mean. I would play Surgical Extraction main deck before I play it, honestly. Just like a thing that interacts.
Spells.
Yeah, more free spells, interacts better with opposing
Arclight Phoenix in that deck.
No, Mutagenic Growth kept me up.
Bolts.
Monday night, I was trying to sleep after I got back from I swear to God, Mutagenic Growth kept me up all night thinking about playing it in that deck as a way to protect your prowess creatures, and for free, it effectively does 3 damage with any prowess creature. So.
Yeah. Can you imagine going like turn 1 Swift Spear, turn 2 just like Faithless Looting, discard a Phoenix, like Lava Spike you, Growth My Fang, attack. That's 6-9 damage. You did 1 on turn 1, so they're 10.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, protecting from Lightning Bolt's also pretty big. All right, next question, whatever. It's good.
Right. What do you think happened to Wyatt Darby's Esper mid-range deck? Do you think there's any reason in particular why we didn't see it at the Team Open?
I think that it is a mid-range deck that kind of struggles against dedicated control decks. I think it really capitalized on Mono Red being a pretty big player in the first week because of how powerful Basilica Bellhaunt is against that deck. But as the format progresses, like you see, it's I don't think it's that good against Sultai Midrange. I don't think it's that good against Esper Control. And I mean, I've played against it a couple times on Magic Online with Wilderness Reclamation decks, and even with Mortify and all that and stuff like that. I just don't care.
Yeah, we think of week 1 and the decks that do well in week 1 as decks that like might be the real decks, and the decks that don't do well as the not real decks. The reality is that there's always going to be some decks that are better tuned than others on week 1. One of the reasons that aggressive decks do well is they punish untuned decks, and they're easier to tune generally than more reactive decks. Wyatt's deck, one, like it was better tuned because he was testing a lot, preparing for that tournament, and he's a very good player. So I assume he put in a lot of quality work, and so his deck was just better tuned, and he understood various matchups better than his opponents did, especially because his deck was a little bit more off the wall. So I think that's a significant edge that he specifically had in that tournament. He did well with it. People haven't really been able to replicate the results since then, and I just don't think the deck's that good.
Well, I'll say this. I actually sat next to Wyatt in round 8 of that Open, and he was 6-2. And I asked him if he thought his deck was good, and he said, "I don't know."
Yeah,
because he was 6-2. He was at the 6-2 table right next to me, and he went on to, or sorry, 5-2, and he went on to win that match. Maybe it was 5-2 or 4-2 in round 7. I forget because I went 4-3 and I dropped.
I think he started 3-2.
Okay, so I mean, he was unsure whether his deck was remotely playable, and then he just rattled off 4 in a row to make day 2, and then won 5 out of 6 to top 8. So
yeah, have we really seen that deck at all since then? I mean, it pops up on leagues, but somebody 5-0s with it, it'll pop up.
I mean, if mono red is relatively popular in online formats because it's usually the cheapest deck, and that deck, and if you just hit the string of 2 or 3 out of your 5 matches is the mono red deck, you're gonna 5-0.
Yeah. and we figured out that Thought Erasure and Thief of Sanity are very powerful cards,
good.
and Hostage Taker, and he was playing those cards. So I think that the element that I've taken from the success of that deck is that those cards are good, but I don't think that's the optimal shell around them. Sure. And we mentioned that those cards are good earlier, and that maybe there's something better to be doing there. So,
all right, that's going to do it for Ross Mayer and myself and Versus Live for today. I want to give a shout out to Rob, our director. Thanks for keeping everything together. But I feel like we got some subs over there. Maybe did anybody sub today?
I forgot about our subs. How could I do that?
Oh no! No!
We did get a few subs today.
All right, let's give them a shout out.
Let me scroll down our list here.
Rob's slacking here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone.
Okay.
Cody John 992 with a sub.
Still got that
Pine
Hawaii brain.
XP.
What was that one again?
Pine XP. Sloppy Goobers for resubscribe for 3 months.
Gets him every time.
Got some good names here.
Gets him every time.
Joe Blaska resubscribe.
That's just a regular name, probably. Come on.
Yeah, they can't all be winners, right?
Was it? No, that was not the same person. There's someone named Sloopy Goopers.
King's Gambit, subscribe. And that's going to be it for this broadcast. So.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you to all our subs.
Yeah. Thank you to all our subscribers, to everyone watching now. We have an Open coming up this weekend in Dallas. I believe, Todd, you're doing commentary.
Yep.
I'll be playing.
Yep.
All the action you can catch right here at twitch.tv/SCG Tour, starting at 10:30 local time. So we're going to be in the central time zone then. So make sure to adjust depending upon where you live. 10:30 local time on Saturday morning is when it'll start. We'll run through 50 rounds of Swiss, 3 rounds of top 8, get some nicely tuned standard decks, and hopefully I get to beat Tan in the finals so he doesn't have a trophy again.
Nice. You were just the worst kind of friend sometimes. Jesus Christ. I will say this. We have some new emotes that are actually now live. If you are thinking about subscribing, you get to use those. And you don't have to watch commercials whenever we run the commercials. And that not only applies for Versus Live, that actually applies for the SCG Tour as well, where, we've been trying to bring y'all a ton more content recently. And also you get to vote on the feature match that we watch first in top 8. And I think that's a pretty cool thing.
It is. So be sure to check that out and take advantage of that opportunity as well. But that's going to be all for us today. No action for the Utah Jazz on the NBA trade deadline. It happens, but we'll move on. And as for Versus Live, we'll see you here next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Bye.